Well, we get to go for it today. So let us prepare ourselves. Let us prepare our mind. And let us prepare our body. And let us prepare our spirit. The beginnings of any undertaking may be exposing you to criticism from others. Your belief in what you see must be stronger than the doubters before you. Your creative expression wants to expand, and yet, when it meets with resistance, the emotionally immature custodian of the vision finds it easier to contract to where it is safe. If you choose the comfort of approval, the boldness you once had softens, and the early strength gives way to safety, and the once clear voice becomes a distant memory. So allow ourselves to take these words in and see what they have to reveal to us. And how interesting it is that Spirit reveals itself in so many wondrous ways. Revealing itself in this moment and in this time as these words and as the dreams that beat within each of our hearts. I give thanks for those dreams. For it is Spirit's calling to an ever greater and wondrous unfolding of itself. And so knowing that, I know that the unfolding of this service together is divinely orchestrated and divinely uplifted. I know that the words and the heart and the message that moves itself in and through and from and as Cece is that which touches each of our hearts, our minds, our souls, in that way that is unique and wondrous for us all. And I stand in joyous awe of this divine energy we call life. Letting it be so, we simply rest and we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Becky. I needed that. Whew. We had a fabulous enlightened leadership training here yesterday, but I talked for 7 hours, so my talker's a little raspy today. It was great fun, though. We had a good time. We had 16 fabulous leaders here. It was wonderful. And I woke up this morning thinking, oh my God, it's birthday Sunday. It's the last Sunday of another month. What? How did that happen? You know, it went by so quickly. So we're winding up our July discussion of living creatively. And just as a reminder, we've talked a lot about this urging this month, this this soul urging to create something bigger, to step into a bigger way of being. We've talked about that, and we've talked about the power of the awe that comes to us when we have an experience of the divine, when we have that experience of something larger than we are, something, you know, those unusual experiences that are clearly outside the pale of day-to-day living. So today I want to talk about a really simple, totally obvious, and often overlooked truth. If you're going to do something new, you have to do it. You have to actually take action. See what I mean? Totally obvious, often overlooked. We actually have to do something. We have to take the steps that head us in that direction. And those feelings of divine discontent come in so many guises that sometimes I think we don't take the action because we're not sure that's really what it is. So I want to talk about that a little bit too. There's one of the ways divine discontent shows up is in that persistent sort of nagging urge to, I don't know, take up flower arranging or watercolors or cooking or whatever it is that is nagging and persistent. And we think, I don't have time for that, or I don't have the first idea how to get started in that, but it keeps at us because it is the divine discontent in us saying, go for it, just try it, and be okay with making a mistake. That's one of the other places we run into difficulty, is we're always afraid we're going to fail. But that's how we learn things. We don't do it perfectly the first time, and we learn how to do it a little better, right? Another guise for discontent of the divine nature is that sometimes it feels like just plain old everyday discontent. I feel like my skin is too tight. I don't feel comfortable in my life today. I feel like I need to be doing something different. I think it's something that we have to ponder when it's that kind of just uncomfortableness, because that can also just be the ego. That can also just be the ego saying, just keep things the way they are. Just don't worry about it too much. Just don't deal with whatever's coming toward you in a constructive way. Just dodge it. You know, the ego likes to dodge things that way. Sometimes it just wants to be pouty and crabby, and that often shows up in relationships, if you know what I mean. That kind of discontent just often shows up in relationships. But if it's persistent, and you're pretty sure it's not just the ego, it might just be guidance from that inner you saying, try this, take a few steps in this direction, and see what comes, And then it gets frightening and difficult because it's so easy to stay in the comfort zone. It's so easy to stay in where we already know and not take those steps. Kind of shrug off the discontent and say, oh, I'm okay here. It's adequate. Which is where those numinous or liminal doorway portal experiences come in. They're so obviously outside our ordinary experience that they are clear. It's clear that they are guidance of a different kind. And often when we kind of shrug off the other stuff, we'll have one of those big experiences, because divine discontent is nothing if not persistent. And it will keep after us until it gets our attention some way. And sometimes it's one of those wow experiences that just lets us know we're outside of the normal realm of things here. And I'm so grateful that that happens. I'm so grateful that that happens, because it's difficult to rouse the spiritual courage necessary sometimes to just take a step. It's difficult to let yourself really feel the irritation of that divine discontent and then say, okay, I get it. I'm going to take a step in this direction. It's persistent because spirit is persistent. There's a Spanish philosopher, if I can say his name correctly, if not Becky will correct me, it's Jose Ortega y Gasset. And he said, the essence of human beings is divine discontent. It's like a love without a beloved, or the ache we feel in a member we no longer have, because it's who we are. You know, it's the divine us kind of nudging us in a certain direction. And since we, probably all have a place of divine discontent in us, what is, this is a good question to ponder, what is that one step you could take at this moment in that direction? There's always a first step. Right now, what would that be? And the reason I bring it up is because of what happens when we take that first step. It's when the universe, you can almost hear it, says, yes! Yes! She's going for it! Yay! And you've probably heard this story about the Scottish mountain climber W.H. Murray. He was really a fiend when it came to mountains. He climbed every mountain in Scotland. And then he was drafted into the war and spent 3 years in the German prison camps, during which time he wrote his autobiography on toilet paper. And the Germans found it and destroyed it, so he just started again. He just started writing it again. And he got out in, whenever it was, but in 1953, he was invited to second on Sir Edmund Hillary's Everest expedition, which required him to get from Scotland to somewhere near Mount Everest, right? And he dithered and dallied and didn't know whether he wanted to go and didn't know whether he could afford it and didn't know whether the war had left him so weak he wouldn't make the climb, and etc. But finally he bought the ticket to Bombay. And he wrote, "We had definitely committed ourselves. We were halfway out of our ruts." I love that, halfway out of our ruts. We had put down the passage money, booked a sailing to Bombay. This may sound too simple, but great in consequence. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, Providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. And then he closes with Goethe's couplet, "Whatever you can or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it." That is the most beautiful statement of what happens when we take that first step towards something new. It is like the universe is shouting at us, yes! Something really powerful about it. And I see it all the time. Just yesterday I ran into a posting on Facebook from a friend. I get all my life news through Facebook. It's a friend who has lived in Pittsburgh for, 6 or 7 years. And he decided he wanted to move back to Atlanta because he always loved living there. And so he told his boss that he'd be wrapping up his affairs in Pittsburgh. That's all he did. And then he gets this phone call out of the blue from a church in Atlanta saying, "We found your name on a list and we need a pianist. Will you come and play for us?" And he wound up his post with, "I've been on that list for 7 years. This is the first time in 7 years I've ever received a call. I never cease to be amazed at how the universe answers me." Right. All he had to do was tell his boss, "I'm moving back to Atlanta." Boom, there it was. He was just following an urge, and he just took a step. He just took a step. And that happens so often. And yet, as today's reading points out, what we often get is criticism from others or from ourselves. Whenever we decide to take a step, there are outside voices and inside voices that say, "Be sensible," or "Stay where it's safe," or whatever it is they say. And if we give that too much real estate in our heads, the boldness fades, the resolve dissolves, the strength ebbs away, and we're stuck in the rut. We're not even halfway out anymore. We're stuck there. The reading today says, your creative expression wants to expand. But when it meets resistance, the emotionally immature custodian of the vision, that's the ego, finds it easier to contract to where it's safe. Yeah, the ego is always trying to keep us safe. It's always trying to keep us someplace it knows about. So how do we stay strong and bold and resolute in moving forward? Our founder, Ernest Holmes, gives us some guidance here from the book, The Science of Mind. He said, the mind is the fashioning factor, and according to its range, vision, and positiveness will be the circumstance or experience. The mind is the fashioning factor. He says, use your mind to get through the resistance. When we create a pattern in our minds, which he calls a mental equivalent, and which one of his teachers, Thomas Troward, called a spiritual prototype. We create a pattern in our minds, a vivid, detailed, rich pattern. Then we get to determine what our relationship with the experience is going to be. And as we create it, we do it just by spending a couple of minutes every day in that particular real estate of our minds, looking at the picture, seeing detail, feeling the feelings that are there. We work with it in our minds until it starts to reside in our hearts. Ernest Holmes said again, the mental embodiment of an idea, the true mental equivalent, is the embodiment of that idea. It's not so much the word we speak as what we feel in our hearts. So we have to move it from head to heart, which we do, of course, by using our minds, using the mental gifts we've been given. We all have this urge to do something bigger, to become something more, and when we come to feel it in our hearts, neither the emotionally immature custodian of the vision nor anyone out there has any sway over us once it begins to live in our hearts. We just keep walking. We just take another step. We just keep moving forward because it becomes so strong. And I really do think that all those people out there who are saying be sensible or be careful are simply projections of our own resistance. It's just being made very visible to us. Oh, resistance, I get it, I get it. Every time we take our lives beyond the boundaries they've already become comfortable in, the ego gets nervous. It's the way we're made. There's a part of our brain that says, it's not safe. It's called the negativity bias. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. So there's always a part of our brain that's looking for the things that it can point to and say, it's not safe. See, it's not safe. Don't go there. But, you know, how often have we let our dreams just be squashed by stuff the ego tosses out in front of us that turns out to be, in hindsight, pretty minimal, really. That's how why we just continue to take the opportunity to work with the mental pattern of the dream, the mental pattern sometimes of just the next step, bit by bit, day by day, until we find ourselves able to hold the mental pattern regardless of resistance. The resistance won't go away because we're still human. At the same time, we're these powerful spiritual beings. And so we get to the point where we feel like we're living the dream inside our minds, and then, whoa, look out. Because then we take a step. We experience it as here and now, we take a step, and then the wild ride of embodiment starts to happen, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. You know, people will call out of the blue, like they did with my friend and moving back to Atlanta. They'll fall into place without us knowing how they could possibly fall into place. There will be this stream of events that get started that we couldn't have imagined, and it takes us right to where we want to be. The way back to the boldness that we feel at first when we decide to do something, the power of our vision, the strength of our voice, the way back is through that mental pattern. The way back is through bringing from head to heart that distilled essence of our dream. And we do it a little bit at a time, just a little at a time. Day by day, we put in a little more color and a little more detail and a little more aliveness. and we let ourselves feel what it's like to live there. Jack Nicklaus talked about doing this during his career. He said, "I never hit a shot, not even in practice, without having a very sharp in-focus picture of it in my head. First, I see the ball where I want it to land. And then I see it, he says, I see it where I want it to finish, nice and white and sitting up high on the bright green grass. Then the scene quickly changes and I see the ball going there, its path, its trajectory, its shape, even its behavior on landing. Then there is a sort of a fade out, and the next scene shows me making the kind of swing that will turn the previous images into reality." He kind of goes backwards at it from what he wants to what it takes to get there. And public speakers do it, and all sorts of athletes do it. Lots of people work with this mental equivalent idea, visualizing themselves moving through what they want to do in a very powerful way. Martial artists, musicians. I used to do it when I had to argue before the Supreme Court. I would see the justices going like this, smiling. And, all kinds of people use this mental equivalent to increase their performance and to decrease the voice of resistance, because resistance is going to be there. We can use the same tools and the same idea to follow the dreams of our souls, the dreams of our hearts, the life's vision that we have. And we do it simply by starting there, fleshing it out and filling it in, and then, slowly it comes back to us where the step is. What is the step we should take right now? If you spend 5 minutes a day living in that and fleshing it out and seeing the detail and giving it feeling and color and life, and describing it out loud to someone you can trust. That's a really good thing to do too. Someone you can trust, not to say, "Oh, be sensible," or "Isn't that kind of risky?" Heck yes, life is risky, isn't it? I mean, anything big, anything worth doing is, it's gonna stretch us. It's going to, that's what it's supposed to do. So if there's somebody that you can trust not to disrespect your dream, say it out loud. Tell them what that first small step is that you're going to take today. And then just do it. Just take the step. The next one will become clear. It can be as small as putting it on your calendar. I'm going to do this. This is the date. Or making the shopping list. Let's see, if I'm going to take up flower arranging, I better buy a vase and some flowers. And maybe one of those frog things to make it easy. Or whatever it is you're going to do. Find a partner, an accountability, I can't even say this word, accountability partner. Someone who's going to say, "Hey, did you do that thing you said you were going to do?" And someone that you can say to them, "Hey, did you take that step you were going to take?" It's always nice to have loving support when we do these kinds of things. You can turn to the person next to you and say, "Here's what I'm going to do." Whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has power and magic in it. So just do it. Just do it. Start right now. And take that thought of that first step deep into your heart. And allow it to be illumined by that divine light of soul, of spirit, of God that is within you. As in this moment, we remember together that there is only one. There is only that one divine life that spreads its light through all creation, through every one of us, through every flower in our arrangement, or every ingredient in our cooking, or every step of our journey, or every dream that we have, and every minute of fulfillment of that dream. The same divine light illuminates the whole pathway. And that light resides within us. It resides within you and me and everyone. If we will take note of it, its brightness increases automatically. And if we will allow it to shine on the path of our vision, it will illuminate this step and the next step and the step after that and every step that we need to take to arrive at the fruits of our dream, at the vision moved into embodiment, into manifestation, into form, into our lives. Because I know that there is only one, and that each one of us has access to it. It is the thing that lives in our thoughts. It is the thing that gives us the idea in the first place to take a step, to become more, to do something we've never done before. And so I know for each one of us that resistance is simply seen and noted. The ego's objections are simply noted and comforted, and that step is taken. That step that takes us into a different dimension, the dimension where providence moves to in our favor and begins to carry us down the stream toward our dream. I'm so grateful for this reminder of this deep and fundamental truth that the universe is always saying yes to us when we listen. I'm so deeply grateful for this time we have together to celebrate, to reflect, to be reinforced, and to reinforce each other. I'm so deeply grateful for this thing called life. And from this place of gratitude, I release these words knowing that the universe has already said yes to them, that they are already so, it's already done. And so in gratitude, we say together, and so it is.
Remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I
We now have an opportunity to contribute to the work of this center and to take just a moment to just be grateful. Just be grateful for all of the blessings that are in our lives, for all of the people and the events and the abundance and the loving pets and the loving friends and all that is good in our lives, all that we are blessed with. Gratitude is the attitude that makes welcome all the good the universe has to offer. So just take a moment for your hearts to fill with gratitude. And whether you're giving today or not, please bless the basket as it goes by. Bless the abundance of this community so that we may prosper and grow and thrive and continue to do our work in the world in an ever, ever expanding way. And let's remember together, gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
Gratefully I give with an attitude of abundance.
I know that as I give, so do I receive.
I know that as I give, so do I receive.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I gotta tell you, sometimes it's a spiritual experience just listening to you guys. Thank you. Thank you. I love it.
That's the goal, man.
That's the goal. Yeah, they do a good job. Okay, you're fabulous. The kids will be up in a minute, so while they're making their way, I have a couple of announcements. Like I said, the Welcome Center is open. If you have any questions or you're new, you want to go over and just see what's available over there to tell you about us, that would be great. Mark your calendars for August 9th. Join us here in the morning to clean up the grounds a little bit, and then you can head on down to the free Festival of the Vine at the Frays. Hear a little music, drink a little wine, it'll be great, right? Sunday, August 17th, the following weekend, we'll have a guest speaker. Her name is Reverend Karen Russo, and she's a pretty amazing lady. She has a degree in finance from Columbia. She's a minister graduated from Holmes Institute. And her job is to travel around and teach people sales force development. So she'll be here speaking during the 17th, or during the service on the 17th, and then offer a workshop. And the bookstore has 5 copies of her book called The Money Keys available now. There's a sign-up sheet outside the bookstore door. Don't miss that. Don't miss it. She's really quite amazing. A lot of love and heart she puts into her work. We better do this because they're just going to come up anyway, so let's sing to them.
We set a record today.
They're still coming. Oh my goodness. How wonderful to see you all. Oh, this is awesome. Awesome. A beautiful bunch of people. Look at how shiny they are. They're filled with light.
We started practicing a song, and pretty soon we're going to be able to sing it to you.
Yay.
You're singing to us, we're going to sing to you. But not this time.
Right now we're going to sing to them. Good.
Ready? A 1, 2, 3.
Mark, there you are. Explain this.
We sit for 60 seconds at the start. We have a little meditation. It's called a meditation practice. And the practice is not to move your nose or your eyes or your toes. You can't move anything. Everybody did it again. Seconds without making a sound and not making a movement. So we're so proud of you guys.
Fabulous. And I can't wait to hear your song. Can't wait to hear your song. We will look very much forward to that. Some found sunglasses if anybody lost them. Okay, let's see. September 13th. September 13th. I know it's a long way away, but I want to explain it now. It is the 2nd annual Centers for Spiritual Living Global World Service Day. So we are planning, putting together a community service event on that day. And so watch for more information on what we're going to be doing. The November retreat, we actually had a waiting list, so we rented another building. We have 4 spots left. 4 spots. They're a little bit more expensive because the extra building has a little bit bigger bedrooms, but there are 4 spots. A $50 deposit will hold your space. It's November 7th, 8th, and 9th. If you are an Amazon shopper like me, you can go to our website and click on the link that says Amazon, and it's on the right-hand side of the front page. And whatever you buy, we receive from Amazon a little bit of money every time you shop. So it's a win-win for everybody because you can get anything on Amazon. I think you'd probably buy a car on Amazon if you tried. But anyway, shop through the website and it comes back to help the community. If you're interested in learning how to play the guitar or how to play it better, when does that start? Do you know?
It started Friday.
Oh, it started already. Free guitar lessons on Friday evenings after 6:30 from a fabulous, fabulous teacher. There's more information on the bulletin board that is to the left of the bookstore door. And our community newsletter will be out next Sunday. So if you can help distribute it to libraries or coffee shops or health food stores or restaurants or anywhere that you can think of, just check with Clara. We'll have some available next week. Or if you think of some place that would be wonderful that you don't normally go to, let us know and we'll arrange to get it there. This is the newsletter that has information about the center and about your businesses, and we're going to take it out into the community. Just an advance note, in August we will be putting out a little booklet with all the song lyrics in it. It'll just stay here, we'll use it every week. It's an attempt to streamline the bulletin and trim our copying costs and shorten the time it takes to prepare the bulletin. So more information will be forthcoming on that as well. There's a section in your bulletin on the very back page called Mark Your Calendars, and you can see there's a lot coming up. So please take this home, check it out. Take note of what you might be interested in, and mark your calendar. Finally, if there is anything at all you would like prayer support for after the service, you can see any of the people with the shawls on. Becky isn't wearing hers today, but we'll be here for a couple of minutes. We have a practitioner meeting after the center, but each one of the people in the shawls is a licensed prayer practitioner, and they know how to know the truth for you even when you can't see it. So you can just walk up to them and say, I'd like prayer, and they will give you a 1-minute miracle. There's also a prayer chest over there where you can put a written prayer request, and you can also call the prayer line, or you can go through our website, click on the link, and submit a written request for prayer. We have lots of ways to make that available to you. Let's see, there is a brief core council meeting in the library, and there is a brief practitioner meeting in the teen room, which is the first room on the left down the hall. So that's right after service, just so everybody knows where they need to go next. The rest of you go and have a fabulous, fabulous Sunday. Let's stand and do, oh, it's birthday Sunday too, so there's cake in the social hall, cake and fruit. Please join, and I don't have the list of birthdays, so happy birthday to everyone who had a birthday in July. Let's stand and do our closing affirmation, and Stand is our song. By golly. But first, let's know together, there is a song of the universe, and I sing it.
There is a song of the universe, and I sing it.
There is a hymn of praise, and I praise it.
There is a hymn of praise, and I praise it.
There is a life of joy, and I live it.
There is a life of joy, and I live it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a great week, everybody.